This video is going to be a double review, 2 books by the same author, The Maiden Voyage of the Destiny Unknown, and also Do Not Resuscitate, both by Nicholas Ponticello. Their experience is similar to that of a child who has just squashed a bug for the first time. The child understands she has killed the poor bug, but she still thinks she can undo it somehow. That's how humans experience the universe.
Well, it's like I always say, you can't have your bug and eat it too. Wait, she squashed it without eating it? What a waste!
Merrily, of course, suggested my mother go back to school. What for, my mother said, so I can become a hotshot computer scientist and run around the office on a skateboard throwing computers down the stairs? She had just seen a documentary on PBS about the young people in the social networking industry.
I do choose to work in that office. It sounds fun.
Destiny Unknown is set in the ridiculously far future, but don't let it bother you. Everything about human society is pretty much the same as it is today. It's the story of an ill-fated starship voyage. The crew is this flawed, mixed nuts bag of people, a few animals mixed in as well. And the story is very light in tone, and it's sprinkled with a lovely humor throughout. Do Not Resuscitate, on the other hand, is a story about the near future, with mild, nearly ignorable sci-fi elements. Resuscitate is a much more focused story. It follows a single main character, the relationships he has with his family. There are actually 2 parallel storylines, one that takes place in the character's youth, and another that takes place in the character's old age. But other than that, it's simpler. It's much more focused, and I think it benefits a lot from that. The story is littered with wry insights and Vonnegut-esque comedy, and it's just a pleasurable, insightful, and fun story. I would say that in both stories, the theme is family, and in particular, how family members come into conflict with each other through no particular faults of their own, just by being who they are. In Do Not Resuscitate, the family members are literally blood relatives of the main character. In Maiden Voyage of the Destiny Unknown, well, they're not family members, most of them, but they're all crammed together in close proximity for a very long time on this starship voyage, and they didn't necessarily choose everyone else around them, and what could be more like family than that? Both books make for really light, easy reading, and this is one of my favorite things about them. I had this conversation with my partner at one point, and we were basically talking about how it would be really nice to have even a whole genre of books that don't actually have that much drama, don't actually have that much tension. The sort of thing that would be really calming and peaceful to read at the end of a long day, that you could sort of read yourself to sleep with without worrying that there was going to be some cliffhanger that was going to keep you up. Now, obviously, the ideal way to do this would be literally to just have the parts of The Hobbit and the Fellowship of the Rings that take place in the Shire, and the worst thing that could happen to somebody would be a visit from the Saxville Bagginses, and otherwise it would just follow along with hobbits tending their gardens and making food and stealing vegetables from Farmer Maggot's fields. Other than literally rereading The Hobbit, which we do, the best thing that's sort of met our needs for this is children's books. And in particular, we've read the Wayside School stories by Louis Sacker. And those are wonderful, but they don't always quite hit the mark. And I think that in a lot of respects, especially The Maiden Voyage of the Destiny Unknown, comes kind of close to what we're looking for in this regard. There is conflict in the book, but it's never taking itself too seriously, and it never forces the reader to really worry too much about any of the characters. And that's what it's going for, I believe. It's not trying to be a thriller. It's not trying to get under your skin, like it's not a Stephen King novel, I think that Destiny Unknown actually has a lot of similarities with children's books. There's, like I said, of course, the humor throughout. It feels kind of Hitchhiker's Guide. It feels like Hitchhiker's Guide in many places. And the fact that it sort of stays at this a little bit distant narration, telling what each of these individuals is doing on the starship, makes it have this a little bit children's book type feel. I almost kind of wish that it had committed more to that, because there's also like a bunch of sex in it and some other adult themes. And so that makes it really inappropriate for kids, which I kind of think is a shame because the author's tone and voice in the writing, I think, would really be great for a kid's book, honestly. I wanted a much more consistent tone.
Yes, a very consistent bone.
No, tone. I wanted a more consistent tone in Destiny Unknown.
You're a poet and you didn't even know it.
And I wanted more of a focus on particular characters. Basically, the narration bounces around between even dozens of people on the starship. And I think I would have been more interested and engaged if we followed certain individuals more closely and for a longer period of time. Oh, and I wanted to hear more about the animals.
Yes, more about me.
Overall, though, it's a very pleasant read, and the only thing that I think is required for enjoyment of Destiny, Maiden Voyage of the Destiny Unknown, is a mild suspension of disbelief. I gotta say, I liked Do Not Resuscitate more. I found it to be funnier, I connected more closely with the main character, probably because he's the exact same age as I am, so when it's describing his youth, it's a time period that I very much remember. I was born in the mid-'80s. And the author does a great job building up the mystery of what is in these coolers. He takes me all the way from...
What's in the box?
What's in the box? What's in the f***ing box?
No, I don't know what I expected.
And it is revealed what the secret MacGuffin is, what's actually in the coolers. So I won't spoil it here, but it is revealed in the book. It doesn't leave you hanging like Pulp Fiction does with what's in the suitcase or whatever. The author understands how to handle a secret MacGuffin. It's not about the reveal. There's usually not some answer that is going to be earth-shattering, right? You think about the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. What could possibly have been in it that would make audiences, gasp? Who knows? I mean, gold, nuclear weapons, like, it's hard to think of something that would have satisfied at all, right? And in that movie, we don't find out what's in it. In this book, we do. What's interesting is how the MacGuffin drives the plot forward. There's another YouTuber who made a video about why R2-D2 is a great MacGuffin. I wish I remembered what the video is. But the YouTuber makes a point that what's great about R2-D2 as a MacGuffin is that R2-D2 is a character in and of themselves, and they are interesting as a character. And of course, also in how the other characters relate to them. And that's what makes a good MacGuffin, and in Star Wars and in Do Not Resuscitate as well. It's about that character interaction. Are the characters torn apart by curiosity? Do they want to be blissfully ignorant? Do they not want to look in the box? Do they want to take a peek? Are they willing to fight to keep the thing, whatever it is, secret, even not knowing what it is? All of these and more are ways that characters can relate to a MacGuffin, and that's what makes it good. Other readers have compared Do Not Resuscitate to Vonnegut, and I really think that comparison has legs. There are great little insights into the human condition, into human nature, into our foibles in our relationships with other people, and how friction can occur just when people are being themselves, just by having different sets of wants and needs, and being together and needing companionship and also needing to be our own selves creates this interpersonal conflict. I think that's explored really well, and it has, like I've said, it has lots of cute insights and things that'll make you smile with recognition. Also, Do Not Resuscitate is way less depressing than Cat's Cradle. Cat's Cradle is a good book, though.
If someone had asked me to subvert the government and board a plane to another territory under a name that did not belong to me, to retrieve a package that did not belong to me, which contained God knows what, I would have, in theory, refused on moral grounds. In theory. Oh, I need to know what's in the cooler. I need it so bad. I bet it's treats. You always know that when your humans hide something from you, that it's something really good like treats.